This is me, 6'3", 250 pounds, a few summers back, pleasantly plump, to put it simple. I knew something needed to change, or, the blood pressure issues, attitude issues, being lazy, eating too much. Something needed to change, and I've lost a lot of weight before in the past, but I lose sight of the goal and then just put it right back on. So this is me figuring it out again. Man, I love to eat. Once COVID hit, I thankfully was able to start working from home the entire time. The problem with that was my office and my house were the same place. I wasn't able to really unwind or decompress like I was used to. So that brought in a new set of mental challenges for me, and I had to do something different. So I picked up a certain sport, and I started kickboxing. So I went in there thinking I just want to lose some weight and learn self-defense. Win-win, right? Worst case scenario, I hate it and I quit. So after a few months of classes and taking a test, I ended up throwing myself to the wolves for some sparring. Fast forward a little bit, and here I am, the bell ringing for a smoker fight. So bottom line, I would always tell somebody, just throw yourself out there. You might feel uncomfortable, but that opens the window for you to be able to grow. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you're going to keep learning things about yourself. You're going to learn what your strengths are, identify the weaknesses, and do what you can to fix them. If I hadn't done this, I don't think I would have been able to accomplish that. So this was after my first cardio kickboxing class, and little did I know what I was about to get into. Quick disclaimer, I had no idea how much work it takes to record, put these videos together, edit them, and then put sound to them. So shameless plug for TikTok for me, Southpaw82. That's where a majority of the content you're about to see is coming from. But thanks for hanging in there. So what you're seeing now are just bits and pieces of footage that I recorded after classes for the most part. So I would try to catch them 3-4 days a week. It shocked my body the first month. I was so sore I wouldn't be able to get out of bed right. And, over time it just got easier. It was easy to get discouraged, but as long as you keep coming back, as long as you keep, stretching and taking care of yourself, you'll be fine. I'm not going to go into too much detail about how much running I was doing or what the dieting looked like. I could save that for a different video, but this is really me just summarizing almost a year of me doing my own work on top of classes at the gym, just to show you generally what I was doing for most of that year. I didn't include as much of it as I feel like I should, but it was also a ton of jumping rope and a ton of shadow boxing. Shout out to Jamon Cook, one of my coaches. This is a big moment for me here. He's asking if I was going to participate in the smoker fights, and this for me is huge because this is where I found another opportunity to crank the heat up a little bit, to throw myself out there again. Had I sat and thought about it even more, I probably would have said no. But moving forward, a lot of the footage you see here is going to be acclimated more towards me actually getting ready for my first bout with somebody. So once I signed the form to jump into the fight, that's when things feel like they turned up another level. So I felt like I had to spend as much time as I could, fast forwarding through a lot of the basics. So thankfully there are a handful of tools at my disposal whenever I needed to, like the double M bag here. It's so much fun though. It's just the most fun you're going to have that will exhaust you. And so by this point, we're just getting closer and closer. And in my head, I just felt like I needed to be doing more and more. A lot of weekends, I would go to a class, and then I'd just walk outside and then do this like you're seeing here. Over time, I went on Amazon, went to get like boxing resistance bands like you see here. It's crazy. There's so many tools out there. So, put it on yourself to find some of those things and take advantage of what's out there just to help you get better. I was trying to catch as many sparring rounds as I could by now and just start putting as much experience as I could on my back just to get me prepared. So around this point, early April, with the fight just being a week or two out, I was already at the weight that I was aiming for. My opponent was also coming down, so I decided to try and put some good weight back in. But I'd be lying to you if I told you every day, I'm just looking at the calendar, I'm just thinking about what I have to do for work and go train, and I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't getting nervous. I wasn't going to let it stop me, but it's insane what your brain can do. It's insane the levels that I feel like I had to push to just to get up and keep going. It was so easy to just think, oh, I can quit, I can tap out, whatever, but you got to keep going. All right, so here's the fight. It was just kickboxing. I know there's different rules. I'm just not super familiar with the different types of rules in kickboxing yet, but it was just 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. I think it was a minute. God, it felt like 10 seconds back then, but this is it. So this is more of a highlight reel on my part. Just a few of the things that I thought I did well. Long story short, I did end up gassing out as soon as I sat down at the end of round 1. No excuses there. It did give me a lot more to think about as I'm training, especially when it comes to cardio and road work and when to sprint and when to coast. In hindsight, I wish I had stayed on the outside more and tried to work him and learn how to just move around more. But, you live and you learn. Zig when you should have zagged kind of thing. But it was a great experience for me, and props to him as well. Time for some humble pie here. So, failure to check kicks. And I think at this point, this was maybe 13, 14 kicks in, I finally went down. And I freeze here because this is a big moment for me mentally. Lungs were on fire, hands were heavy. I was hearing people, but not hearing what they were saying, and just slowly coming back to. And I finally had to decide, am I done or am I going to keep going? And I just decided he's going to have to knock me out for me to stop getting up. So thankfully I only had 2 8 counts in the fight, but he just ended up outpacing me in the end. And then right here in particular, I put this in because he was bombing me here, but I just refused to give up. I'm always going to look back at this moment and wish that I did better, but I feel like that's normal. If you're a competitor, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I had so much fun here. This is where I was hooked on what this sport is about, and shout out to Thad as well. He was a fierce competitor that day. I'm really eager to get back in there and give it another shot and see where things get better. So after a little while, after about a month of having a hard time walking and my jaw not being able to open and my back killing me, it finally came to the point where, what do you do now? You worked your way up, you did what at least you would think is the last goal. From here, this is where it becomes a choice. Do you keep going? Do you look for something new to do? How do you gauge where you're at? And I don't really have the answer, but I can tell you what I did. I decided to just keep going, especially in the world of martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai in particular. There's always something that can improve. There's so much to learn. If you're on the outside wanting to give this a shot, I hope this helps persuade you to try it out at a gym near you if you can, or get yourself some gloves and put it together and see what happens. It may not be for you, but I do think it's something worthwhile to check out. So from here, I just continued to work on the craft. I'm still to this day trying to work on keeping my lead hand up, but I will eventually get back into the ring to do it again, and I'm loving every second of it. I used to smash weights a lot, but that just got boring, so this does not. You can push it as hard as you can take it easy one day. I feel like I'm a little more in tune with my body physically and almost on a spiritual level at this point. But I'm getting to a level now where if I don't put the gloves on or if I don't go out and do some road work, something's wrong. And this all started because of me just saying, why not? What's the worst that can happen here? I mean, what, you're going to quit? You're going to get hurt? Like, it needs to be bigger picture than that. So my advice is and always will be to you, just throw yourself out there in anything that you feel like you may like, anything that may be worthwhile. The worst that can happen is that you just rob yourself of the opportunity. I think that's the biggest threat that we have as humans, ultimately. And so moving from here, I'm just showing off some terrible TikToks, as I've called them, but I've just had so much fun making the content. I've had so much fun sticking to, monitoring and documenting everything and trying to get better every single day. That's what this has really been all about. I'm not going to be going into the UFC or get into a pro boxing match anytime soon, but I don't think it's too bad for a baby daddy, Feel free to pause at any point. Here are some metrics on the road work, the amount of running I was doing, some metrics on weight, body fat percentage, everything here. I can't forget what started this all in the first place. It was the transformation. So here it is. And that wraps up this video. Closing thoughts. If you're brand new to this and you think it would be fun, or if you want to find a new way to get in shape, or if you want to challenge yourself, like I was saying earlier, I really do recommend picking up, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai. I would even like to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu one day. I'm just working my way there. I definitely recommend anybody that's just on the edge, just wanting to give it a shot, just find a gym in your area and just walk in and look around, ask questions, see if there's any, come in for a free trial for a week, or if the gym offers anything like that. Give it a shot. I do have a ton of footage of sparring. I may put something together if people would like to see that. I'm thinking about it, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for getting this far. You're the real MVP if you've made it this far into the video. As for me, I'm just going to keep training. I'm just going to keep trying to get better and see where this takes me. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and have a good day.